that was one of our instructors, Greg Holman, in the back talking with Cindy Thorne. They probably will keep talking all night long. So we're going to go ahead and, whether they're ready to eat or not, I think the rest of you look like you probably are. Welcome to Rend College Sports Hall of Fame and the new Event Center. And I don't know, I hope all of you that are here to honor our guest tonight feel special. You should, they should. I hope they realize how important this is, how meaningful. But I'll tell you what, this building even makes me feel important up here, and that's hard to do, but this is nice. Probably a lot of you have never seen it because it was a few years back when you played here. But we are very honored to have this good crowd tonight and to get the opportunity to honor the people, the teams, and the people that we are. Well deserved. Before we do anything else, though, I'm not going to keep talking. We finally got Greg Holman not to keep talking, so we're good, Greg.
Thank you, Ron. Appreciate it.
We're going to eat first, but Greg, don't be first in line now. We've had to wait on you already. No, don't be first. We don't have any special order, no numbers on tables or anything. We've got everybody scattered. So 2 or 3 tables will get up and head that way, and when you see that there's room for another table, we'll just be on our honor system tonight. Enjoy the meal. It is catered by Catered Impressions out of Benton, and I understand they're pretty good. So enjoy your meal. We'll get back to the ceremonies after we've all enjoyed some food. To get full, or if you're still eating, that's fine too. We're going to go ahead and get started with this. Again, I hope the honorees tonight and all the people associated with them realize that we think this is a pretty big deal. There aren't too many people over the years that have made the Hall of Fame, and these people that we're honoring tonight are really special. Let me tell you what I think is most special about the 96-97 Lady Warriors. 10 players on that team, and one of them, it's my understanding, could not be here tonight, but there are representatives or the gals themselves from all the others. That is a group that won because of their closeness, how much they cared for each other. That's what I've heard all the time talking to Ronnie Russell about them, but that really says something because a lot of them probably live far away from here, but very special, so that impresses me. Let me introduce individually those players now. Hope I make any pronunciations correct. And they'll maybe have a chance, I don't know. Usually we have the coach come up, but if he calls up any of the gals, he's welcome to do that. But I want to make sure they stand up, and if they want to introduce them, members of their family, they can. But Anna Banks Wilson.
Jackie, Jonathan, and Simon.
Great to have. Catherine, Kathy, Calhoun, Carr.
My parents, and apparently my 10-year-old is peeing out the bathroom.
Amanda Dixon Miller. I believe this is correct. Terry Hinken Souter could not be here tonight. She's going to try to be, but she is not. Jenny Higgerson Astrom.
I have with me my mom and dad, and my in-laws over here, and my best friend and her boyfriend, and then my husband.
The Tanya Goforth. Dee Wildermuth Morgan. Representing Sharna Withrow, her mother, is it Sonia or Sonja?
Sonia.
Sonia, well, 3 tries. Sonia Shore and her children.
These are Sharna's children.
Assistant coach Jason Thrash.
My wife Pam and my son Keegan and his wife Keston.
And head coach Ronnie Russell.
My wife Pam and my son Christopher with us today.
And again, what a tribute to your team that they're all here. That is tremendous turnout. I've got the name Stacy Sturm here. Stacy, your wife, Amy, are your sons with you?
They are not.
They're not. They're all both college students. I'm going to tell you something, though, and this probably isn't a nice thing to say. It's a nice thing to say, but Stacy might have the greatest parents ever, and I don't know them. I mean, but they might be the greatest parents ever. While he and his brother Tracy, who also played at Rend Lake, were growing up, they bought a used school, turned it into their home, and gave the boys their own basketball court. I could have been a player if my parents had done that. Tim, would you agree?
I don't know about that.
Oh, not about me. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. You should watch me. Sorry. But those are good parents. And J.R. Conkle, his wife Lindsay, his daughters Lily and Libby. How did you work? Anybody else?
Oh, I have a slew.
What's
I have my golfing buddies. I have my 2 of my 3 sisters, my father-in-law, my mother-in-law. Of course, I've got a couple people here beside me, pretty special people. Whole slew of them. Thank you for coming. And my mother.
Wow, I'm glad you got that in. I'm just bragging on his parents.
Yeah.
We have some other special people here tonight. Well, of course, we have a lot of special people here tonight. But let me introduce some of the Rend Lake College people that I know are on hand. We've got from the foundation, Don and Benji Johnson. Pat Kern. We've got Rend Lake College's CFO, John Gully. Start to introduce one thing. I better get Dave and Vicki Ellingsworth. Stand up. Just giving you some exercise in the middle of it.
You want Becky to stand up?
Cindy Corn. And Cindy has returned to this area. She is now she used to be our women's coach, golf coach. She used to be an assistant basketball coach, but she is now the head women's coach at SIU. Jeff and Jan Johnston. Greg, I apologize. Greg Holman. I'll say this in apology to him. There's not a student on this campus that's ever been connected with Greg that they wouldn't tell you he's one of their favorites. He is.
Thanks.
He is well liked, but when he was a student worker, I'll tell you another story. When he was a student worker, you know what I want to say, don't you? He would go out, he'd come into the office, administrative office, and I know it was all over, wherever he went on campus, if he went on an errand for whoever it was he was working for, they knew they wouldn't see him back for a half an hour at least, maybe more, because he knew everybody and he was friends with everybody. Brian Drew. Brian Drew is a member of our Hall of Fame with one of those golf teams, one of the very good ones, but those are all special people now. I probably forgot somebody that I should have remembered, but just remember I'm old, so. I don't even have Julie and Dave down here, do I? Oh my gosh. Tim, you were going to let me? Julie and your husband. They run the show. They are the athletic department. So I apologize. At this time, I think it's ready to start recognizing some of these people, and we're going to do so first off by introducing you to, he's our athletic director, a professor here. He's been here a long time. He's a member of the Hall of Fame with one of our basketball teams in the past. But he's getting up here. He's tired of hearing me talk. Getting a head start. And because our next person on the list, Mark Kern, is not present tonight, Terry Wilkerson, I'm sorry, I am an old timer. But because he's not here, we'll just introduce him as the head honcho at Rend Lake College, who's been a ring different.
So on behalf of Rend Lake College and the athletic department at RLC, I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight. It's a great turnout. We appreciate everybody coming. All the guests, the family members, and friends. See a guy who used to play independent basketball against down here, Coach Ritchie. Probably the best basketball player that's in here, if I'm not Stacy. He was really, I don't know if you ever played against him, he was really a good player back in the day. So I didn't realize you and JR were friends. Keep good company. Pardon? Oh, okay. So to Stacy Sturm, J.R. Conkle, Ronnie, Jason, and the ladies from the 96-97 basketball team, I'd like to say welcome home. Hopefully you guys feel like this is home to you. We love doing this banquet every year. I'm not a banquet person. You can ask my wife. We don't do these very well, but this is the one that I really enjoy because we see a lot of familiar faces from the past, and we get to honor people who have meant a lot to this, not just the college, but the athletic department especially, for their accomplishments. And it's always amazing how many of them have used what they learned in sports to go on and become highly successful people in a variety of different areas. I want to say a few thank yous to Julie, who's our administrative assistant in athletics. She just kind of keeps everything functioning smoothly. Bob Kelley, he hasn't told you his name yet, but he MCs this for us. He worked here for many years as kind of our SID, and he still does a lot of that on the side. He puts together these programs. He MCs the event. He's part of our selection committee that chooses the inductees each year. And Bob's the guy, anytime you call him, he'll come through for you. I'd like to thank the administration here at the college and the Board of Trustees for allowing us to do this each year. As I said, it's a very special event. Our physical plant, they had a big trivia event in here last night. I think John said it was really late and really a mess. So for them to get this cleaned up and ready for us, we appreciate that. Ryan is here to do the IT stuff and the audio visual. We appreciate our IT department. And then Nathan Wheeler is in the back. He's part of our public information department, and he's here to take some photographs, so I appreciate that as well. The Hall of Fame Selection Committee, some of these have already been introduced, but I'll just, Dave Ellingsworth, Jeff Johnston, Greg Holman, Bob Kelley, Cindy, we know her as Corn, but Bodmer now. Am I missing anybody that's here? Had a couple that can't be here, but there's 9 on the committee. And for those of you who are being inducted tonight, I want you to know that, as Bob has alluded to, it's a really special honor. Because I sit in on those meetings, and this group, they're selective. They pour over this, they discuss it, they debate it, they want to make sure they're getting the right people in. I looked this up, and I don't have all this exactly right, but Stacy, I think you will be the 12th men's basketball player inducted. That's a program that's been around for 55 years, so only 12 have gone in. JR, you're 4th. And I don't know, Dave, I don't know how long, I couldn't find golf, probably 40 plus years that we've had a golf team. So maybe 50 years, I mean, so this is only the 4th men's golf team. For golf. Okay, so yeah, long time, we only had 4 men's golfers go in. And the ladies, and Ronnie and Jason, you guys are number 1. First women's basketball team in the history of the school to be inducted. And women's basketball has been a sport here for 45 years. So it is a selected group. If you've seen out in the lobby, the plaques, there's not that many of them. We've been doing this for 23, this is the 23rd induction. Does that sound right? 22nd or 23rd. So I do have to apologize for one thing, and this is embarrassing to admit, but got to do it. We do not have the plaques to hand out to anybody tonight. I would like to be able to blame COVID or supply chain issues, but it was a communication problem. We will get, they're in process. As soon as we get them, we will get them to you. We will get the permanent ones hung on the wall for you to see. But unfortunately, we do not have those to hand to you tonight. So I'm going to go a little bit away from the agenda of the program because, as Bob said, President Wilkerson is not here. So some of you may know a little bit about this, some of you may not know anything about it, but our athletic department's in the midst of something really exciting that we just got kicked off in December of last year. If you've looked around this building, the rest of the campus, we've had a lot of really nice upgrades and updates and changes on our campus. Since some of you were here, we have an indoor baseball, softball facility out here now that our baseball and softball teams use. Has a weight room in it, locker rooms, a very nice training room. This building has been repurposed. It was an aquatic center, and now it's obviously a very nice event center. We've built an applied sciences building. We've built a mining technology building, and that's been repurposed now into an ag innovation building. Updated the library, the theater, made a lot of really positive changes. There's been one kind of glaring exception to that, and that's this little building next door here that Stacy and this 96, 97 team spent a lot of time in. James Wall Gymnasium is going to be 56 years old and hasn't had hardly any updates. And that's going to change. We've got a project that we're in the process of starting now. If you can picture this going out kind of this way, off of the end of the gym, we're going to build a new lobby. It's going to have office space, nicer, bigger restrooms, concession area, what else? Place for trophy cases, training room. The area where the current locker rooms and offices are is going to be completely redone and updated and turned into our men's and women's home locker rooms. Bathroom facilities, showers, dressing area, and also a separate room for video and team meetings. New bleachers, redo the floor. I mean, you name it. We're going to bring this into where it needs to be. We have a terrible locker. The locker rooms haven't changed since you guys were They haven't changed since I was here. We're really excited about doing that, and I would like to introduce Dawn Johnson, who's the Major Gifts Officer here for our foundation, and she's going to talk to you a little bit and maybe show you a little video about the project and give you a few more details about it.
Good evening. As Tim said, my name is Dawn Johnson, and I just want to start by congratulating all the inductees. It's pretty exciting. You'll forever be part of Rend Lake College athletic history, so congratulations to the women's team, Mr. Conkle. Dear, I don't know you, so you're probably younger than me, and I'm calling you Mr., sorry. And then I do feel like I need to spend a little bit of extra time. Stacy and Tracy, where you at? Okay, so I did marry a former Fox, and for 25 years I have heard Stacy and Tracy, Stacy and Tracy. About 15 years into marriage, I was relieved to know they were actually men's basketball players. I was like, I don't know who this Stacy and Tracy is, but I have heard these names for so long. And if I ask my husband part of his favorite childhood memories, they involve early morning practices. He got to go with his dad, maybe food park donuts, and Stacy and Tracy. So what a privilege to finally meet you, meet your parents, but congratulations to all. And it's just a really exciting event to be able to come together, and I'm sure somewhat of a reunion for most of you. So congratulations. I do want to say also, I know that we so appreciate Bob Kelley. He is just a plethora of information. And the project that I'm going to speak about tonight, Bob was one of the very first phone calls that Pat said, I know who we need to call to start this project off. So we are still continuing to use Bob, and I appreciate you and all your history and knowledge every time that I call or text or email. So thank you. And of course, they've been mentioned, but also on this project, it wouldn't even be possible without Tim Wills, our athletic director, and Julie Oxford. And thank you, they are going to be so sick of seeing me and hearing the name Game Plan by the time this is over, but they are truly the face of athletics out here. I'm sure you can all agree, and just walking encyclopedias as well. So thank you for all your help. And their just dedication and excitement makes me excited to be a part of this program. So it's a lot of fun getting off the ground. Also mentioned, I'd like to thank John Kelley. I think Bob referred to you as CFO. I just had you down as the money guy, representing our administration, and then Pat's back there as well, representing the foundation. So thank you all for being here as well. But before we get further into the evening, Tim did mention, so if you have a chance tonight, if it's been a while since you've been back, when you walk into the gymnasium, it honestly doesn't look that bad, the actual gym and the floor. But as Tim mentioned, it's been over 55 years since those locker rooms, the space that they work. The men now, if they use the restroom, they have to come out into the public. There wasn't even women's sports when they created those restrooms. So they've been moved over now, but they have urinals. So updating is definitely something that we're excited to do. And we're grateful for the foundation board and the board of trustees backing this, because of course it wouldn't be possible without the go-ahead of that. But what I want to do before I show you a few renderings are, we reached out, and this is kind of a personal for us too, because Benji and I have a son that plays out here at Rend Lake, and so that's been really exciting. And so he was, for a really short time, a walk-on at SIU, so we had the luxury of getting to see their facilities. And of course, anytime you see Division I facilities and the ooh and the ah of it, and then after he walked on, he walked off, but we're excited because we got him back at Rend Lake. And so having seen that, when, you know, we see our locker rooms and we see those spaces, it really is a recruiting tool. And I say it speaks volumes to our coaches that they're still recruiting the types of players that we have on the women and the men's teams, but it's definitely due. So we reached out to some of our players and asked if they would just help do a little promo video for the game plan. So I'm going to show that because they speak it way better than I do, and then I'll finish up with a couple of future renderings and give you all a vision of what we hope for it to look like.
Some of my highlights at Rend have consisted of being all conference, all region, winning a lot of games here. But it's more than that. Something that coaches emphasize and teach on and off the court is integrity and just being a leader everywhere you go. At Rend, that's what we're trying to be, leaders out there. On and off the court, you have to be a leader, and it's shown in the classroom too. While I'm leading students, trying to do better in this class.
For as long as I can remember, athletics has been a huge part of my life, and my parents have always stressed to me, you are a student athlete, student comes first, academics comes first. But athletically, that's something I've always wanted to do my whole life, is to play college basketball. And to be able to do it here, first of all, being close to home, has been special to me. But the stuff I've taken from athletics into the classroom has really been huge for me. And for me, looking for my job for the future, being in the sports field, athletics has helped me drastically in the academic world.
And for me, what I really decided to come back is, you know, we have some high talent guys, some very talented basketball players, but more importantly, we have some very high character basketball players on this team, and you know, that really stood out to me, and it's a reflection of our leadership and Coach Gamber.
Ultimately, I made my way back to Rend just because of my familiarity with Coach Gamber and just the family environment that we had. My teammates, we hung out every day. We had fun practices. I don't think there was any days that I came and was dreading practice or not looking forward to the next practice or game, whatever it may have been. But we always had fun. It kept it competitive.
A lot of memories have been made. A lot of stories I'll be able to tell my kids, and it's just been really special, especially since he went here in college. It's just really cool to kind of continue that legacy of going to Mount Vernon High School, going to Rend Lake, and just kind of being a part of it. So
we're really proud of the athletes that our coaches are recruiting. Good student athletes, the high caliber young people, and now we feel like we need to upgrade our facilities to get them on that same level, and we feel like the game plan is the way to do that.
My name is Steve Smith, and I am a part of the game plan.
I'm Shane Garner, and I'm part of the game plan.
I'm Carson Pro, and I'm part of the game plan.
I am Glenn Box, and I'm part of the game plan.
My name is Bob Kelley, and I'm part of the game plan.
I'm Reese Johnson, and I'm part of the game plan.
My name is Brian Lahr, and I am part of the game plan.
I'm Blake McKay, and I'm part of the game plan.
I'm Warren Stark, and I am part of the game plan.
Dana Morgan, and I am part of the game plan.
My name is Jackson Krill, and I'm a part of the game plan.
Wayne Arnold,
part of the game plan.
I'm Tim Wills, and I'm part of the game plan.
One, two, three,
Hello, my name is Dawn Johnson, and I'm the Major Gifts Officer here at Rend Lake College. I'm excited to share and invite you to be part of the game plan. If you know anyone that would like to be a part, donate, or find out more information, please reach out to our office. We're excited that you are going to be part of the game plan.
So that's the game plan. Thank you, Ryan. So you may have seen some familiar faces in that video, but they did a terrific job helping us out. And so we are so excited for the game plan. Something that you may have noticed with some of the players and the roster on there, something that we were just super lucky to have and proud of was out of our men's team this year specifically, I believe 8 out of the 11 that we ended with were all local players. And if you go through that roster, we're talking Benton, Mount Vernon, Woodlawn. I think our furthest men's player this year was St. Louis area, which is pretty unique when we would travel and look at some of the other rosters. It wasn't uncommon sometimes that there weren't even any in-state players. So it's pretty unique that we continue to recruit on the men and women's team pretty local. Something that we were also very proud of was, of course, we had a national championship in 2013, but in 21-22, our men's team was ranked #1 in the nation for their GPA, Division 1 and 2. So that tells you the type of men, and on the women's team, that they continue to recruit. And as we look at the facilities, that's really the whole theme of this campaign. We want to continue to recruit the caliber of students and make our facilities match that. So that's really what it's all about. I'm going to click briefly through. This is a rendering of what the front will look like. It will have more of a driveway, an awning, so when you walk in, it's covered there. I'm just going to click through. A lot of times when people come to games or even students to recruit, they're not sure where to enter. And they will ask, which way do I come in? And Julie will run out and meet them, or Tim will. I might get this to work. That's just another view there as you go in. This is just a rendering of some of the new part there. We have all of this in print too, some of the blueprints. But the most exciting thing, as I go through, I'm not sure that whole booklet was on there, but as you go into the gymnasium and you look up, you'll be able to see the Hall of Fame that is out here in the lobby. That's going to be in our new lobby area that you'll actually be able to see from the floor in the gymnasium. And I really encourage if you have 5 extra minutes to walk back through those old locker rooms, they probably look the exact same when you played here. Some things age better with time, but those have not. So that's why we're pretty excited. As we go through, we're going to have different naming opportunities, but something that's really unique about this campaign is other buildings that they update on campus, they may have 4 or 5 really large donors, and then that pretty well completes the project. With athletics being involved, we are really calling this a grassroots campaign. And what I would ask over the next year is if you can be thinking of like, hey, our team would like to be a part of this and have a naming opportunity. Maybe we want to name some lockers, or maybe we want to put our name on the gym floor, or maybe we want to name this as a team. We've already met with several people. We have a women's team, I believe the 85-86 team, and they're going to take on naming the women's locker room. We have a former player that has taken on naming the men's locker room. Our alumnus of the year, Dean Murder, is taking on naming that new Hall of Fame corridor, and those names will be moved into that new area. Also, there's businesses. Like I said, there are naming opportunities from small to large. And I see Nathan in the back. I just want to thank our marketing department, because any literature that we have, we put some flyers on the table, any of the marketing, they make that happen. We have some ideas, but they make it pretty. So I just want to continue to thank them, because they're really the ones that are getting this into people's hands. And I encourage you, if you have time after tonight's event, to go to the Rend College Foundation website. It's on the back of that flyer. or any of the literature. We have the women's video, we have the men's video that you just saw. We have Bob Kelley was part of our alumni group that did about a 30-minute video, more of a documentary. And that's pretty interesting. We didn't feel like we could show that tonight being 30 minutes. But as we go through, one particular naming opportunity that's going to be really neat is going to be called the Tim Wills Coaches Corner, and it's going to be a matching gift. So we'll have a lead gift there, but then anybody is able to donate towards the Tim Wills Coaches Corner, and that'll be a gift that multiple people can be involved in. The Sports Halls of Fame, as you come in the building, those will all have naming opportunities as well. The golf is out there, the women's team, the men's team, and of course we'll keep those out there as well. We talked about the locker rooms, and then there'll just be a place to contribute in honor of a coach. Many of you know Wayne Arnold, and unfortunately he is not doing well. And then we have coaches from the past, and then still current coaches will be there too, all having naming opportunities. So it's just a really exciting project. We felt like tonight, with athletes being here, this was something that we wanted to share. So if you're out and about, or you're talking to team members or former team members, and they say, hey, what's going on with the gymnasium renovation? You'll have a little bit of information that you can share. But throughout this next year, our goal is to have all of the money raised really by next spring, and then we would love to be able to break ground next summer. And the least interruption for season would be ideal, but we're going to try to make it work. Tim says if we're getting this done, we will make it work. So we're just excited that it's off the ground and running. But if any of you have people that you think may have more interest in this, if you have questions, please reach out to our office, find me, and we would be glad to come to you and share more. So thank you and congratulations again.
Don mentioned the #1 basketball team academically in the nation. That's a pretty amazing feat. So, you know, I just got to thinking, gals, you're being honored tonight. I thought, wouldn't that be fun to just look up their GPAs when they were here and announce that for each of these players that's being recognized tonight for their basketball skills. Are you for that? Some yes and no. Let's just say that was a joke. Just relax. I don't have them. I didn't look them up. And I'm also sorry to say you're hearing me one more time when you weren't supposed to, but I think probably Stacy has already been told that Mitch Haskins, his coach, could not be here tonight. He's under the weather, and he's had several health issues in recent years. And so I am going to be the one introducing Stacy. Of course, I remember him very well as a player, but I didn't have anything prepared before I got here tonight. But I want to read you 2 or 3 quotes from a story I got from talking to Mitch about Stacy. And one thing about Stacy, you know, the gals had their cohesiveness on that team, and they were all just such a good team. Well, the players that we're honoring tonight, both golf and basketball, there was something special about them too, and you got thinking, well, maybe if everybody got 3 years to complete their 2-year Juco careers, maybe you could make it into the Hall of Fame. The unique thing about both JR and Stacy, for totally different reasons, we got to enjoy them here for 3 years. Well, mostly 2 years, but parts of 3. But that'll be carried out by others. Here's what Stacy Sturm, when he was a freshman, when he scored in double figures, the team won 12 out of 15 games. I mean, he was a starter from day one. He was coming off of an undefeated championship state high school team, and as a junior, joined his brother then the following year on Rend Lake's team. But they didn't have the greatest of records that year, but when Stacy scored in double figures, they were 12-3 that season. Same way was true his sophomore year. Then after his original sophomore year, he got hurt after about 4 games or 5 games into it. And unfortunately, the break that he had came, just a few days or weeks after a teammate had also gone down. So they lost 2 starters off that team, didn't they? In the first month of the season. So that season didn't turn out like they thought, but they got Stacy an extra year to come back and play, which they should have. He'd only played 4 games, but the NJCAA said he would have to sit out a percentage of the games that he missed that season. So he had to sit out the first few games of that 3rd year of the sophomore season. And the team was, I don't have it right in front of me, I should, it's like they were 1-4 without him. They came back and had a very excellent season and an outstanding year. Stacy was named All-Region 24 first team, All-Great Rivers Athletic Conference, All-Region Tournament, and he was an NJCAA All-America Honorable Mention player. And I believe he was academic All-American too. So Stacy knew how to win when he was at Rend College. He did know how in high school. He knew it here, and then he carried that through with career at 2 different 4-year schools. But according to Mitch, quote, "I never had a player before or since that could do some of the things on the floor Stacy Sturm could do. He was dedicated to being the very best student athlete he could be. I know he was a very good student too. He was a leader on the floor by example, not vocally, but his work ethic was as good as any player we ever had. He would come early to practice to work on things with his twin, Eric Johnson, and they would stay late after everyone else was gone. Stacy was extremely dedicated athletically as well as academically." He also said, as a player, he remembered Stacy had a lot of special skills offensively for a big man. He was especially good when he would get the ball down low and then faking a shot with his head and shoulders. He might do that 2 or 3 times on the defender. When he got the defender to leap finally, he got a lot of points on free throws and 3-point plays. I'd say I developed that fake ball move early on playing against an older brother who was always much more athletic than I was, the player admitted. I think that required me to be more creative with my moves and fakes. I may have stole some of those moves too from a teammate, Armand Matthews. But Stacy was all-tournament, in a tournament at least once, maybe twice during his career. He went on to play at Lambeth and at Hardin Simmons. Sorry, you got somebody other connection there, or we did over here with Hardin Friedman. Okay, but at this time, again, I apologize that Mitch could not be here because he really wanted to be, and he usually is at these events whenever he has somebody going in. But at this time, I would like for you to welcome and acknowledge the accomplishments of Stacy Sturm.
So hopefully I don't regret not bringing notes here. I've thought about this for a while, but anyway, first of all, thanks to the foundation, thank you committee. I know what an honor it is. I don't know everybody that's out there on that wall, but the ones I do know, I know it's pretty humbling to be there with them. Some really great players there. To me, there's a couple of things that got me here. The first is always playing against better players. And Bob mentioned it, playing against my brother when I was very young, all the way up through high school and even here. It was quite the challenge. And I had to get creative. We had a gym. Most people that would have a gym access 24/7 would be great shooters, but I think I got bored doing that stuff and worked on other things. Is the volume okay? Okay. And then, you know, I get to high school and there's Brian Sloan, there's Kevin Kurse, there's Curdy Reed, there's Darren Lee, still my brother, and Brian Cross and Jeff Morris. And then players would come in at certain times. Jerry Wilson, who's on that wall, would come in and play against us, and he was an absolute beast. Just so hard to play against as a high schooler. Hopefully Benji felt that way when maybe I came back and played, I don't know. But it was definitely a challenge. And then come to Rend Lake, and you know, you hear about men among boys, and I feel like I was a boy among men. I mean, I got beat up a lot that first year, and it was extremely humbling. And I think Bob's right. Obviously, a third year helps you mature quite a bit. Even my second year, I think the season was rolling very well. But anyway, extremely fortunate to always have better players to be playing against. And then the second thing is all the coaches, and it really, and Benji, I was going to say this before I ever knew you were going to be here, but it did start with Dennis Johnson, your dad, in grade school, and then on to Randy Smith-Peters as a freshman, who's gone on to great success at Harrisburg. And then Coach Brzezinski, who was a player here. And then, of course, David Lee and Kirk Reed also. And then get here and have Coach Haskins, who was just amazing. And by the way, I didn't want to come here. My brother was here. I was tired of being Tracy's little brother. I wanted to go be Stacy, and but this was the only place that offered. I really wanted to go to Wabash Valley, but they didn't. They came and watched me play and decided they didn't really want me. Wabash was really the team at that time. Lots of national championship trips or tournament trips. But anyway, I ended up coming here, and it really turned out great for me. I can't imagine even playing anywhere else. It'd been nice that it turned into a 4-year school after my sophomore year. It was just a fantastic experience with Coach Haskins, Coach Wheeler, Coach Partridge. It was really great. I could probably go on, but I wasn't in the middle of time, I guess. I do have a couple of stories. And the first one, I doubt that anybody has ever seen before. So my freshman year, we're playing at the Danville tournament. It's pretty early in the year. And Haskins calls a timeout and leaves every player on the floor and calls me over to the bench and tells the coaches to take the other players on the bench somewhere else. And so there I am sitting on the bench, a timeout all to myself. So anyway, I don't remember exactly, well, I guess I ended up MVP of that tournament for some reason. I was not the MVP, but I scored several points against a team that wasn't very good. And then, anyway. And then, so I don't know if anybody's ever seen that. I've never seen that. But that was kind of a shock. And the second thing was my final year, going back to Wabash Valley. We've been on a great roll. Teammates were just fantastic. I was certainly hoping to see some of them here, but hopefully we'll catch up soon. But we've been on a roll. We went to Wabash Valley. I apparently stunk it up the first half, and so halftime, coach has the two assistants take the whole rest of the team to another part of the locker room, and I have halftime one-on-one with Coach Haskins. And that may have happened with other people before, but so anyway, I don't know what he said. I had it was a double overtime game. We ended up beating them, and I had a really good second half and overtimes. So I don't know what he said. I wish I could remember. I'm sure my wife would like to have that bottled up to bring out at times. But anyway, that's really all I have. Basketball has been just super to me. Actually led me to my wife, and we've got 2 wonderful boys, and I can't thank y'all enough. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy, and I know Mitch is very sorry he couldn't be here and share with you tonight. Next presenter, Dave Smith. Dave, we got him off the golf course down in Florida long enough to come back up here today. And he and the guy that he's getting the honor tonight have a very special connection themselves. They weren't only coach and player back in the day, but I think they're still coach and player. I don't know about player, but coach and best friends today, aren't you, JR? He means a lot to JR, and JR always meant a lot to him. So Dave Smith, come on up.
I know it. Thank you very much. It's really nice to be back on campus. I haven't been here in a few years, and wow, this is awesome. We used to have this down there in that cafeteria. I thought that was probably pretty good. Back in 1989, they hired me as golf coach with 2 scholarships and an awful team. And I got started moving along, and they started increasing scholarships, and I had this idea that I wanted to recruit some athletes. You can get the purest golfers in the world, but I was looking around, and Southern Illinois was full of some pretty good golfers, but they were just a notch below the Division I, or they were all South basketball, but they're not going to play basketball. And so I go to putting them together. Brian Drew's in here, one of them, Scott Johnson, Robbie Beeston, J.R. Conkle, and I'd hoped Matt Armstrong. Matt didn't come here at that time. And so I'm looking around, and I don't know who I ended up signing first, but JR never did know this. I slipped down to Hardwood County and watched him play a basketball game. And I was trying to figure these athletes out and who they were. And I was asking a minute ago, who's that crazy coach down there? And the reason was this kid beats him to the bucket and scores. That coach come off that bench, and I mean, my gosh. I slid over, and JR took it, got on him. The kid took it to the bucket a little while later and wasn't standing after that. That was the end of that. He put him down. It's like, okay, foul, fine, but I'm not going to take that with me. And I knew I was pretty interested at that time. So I bring him up to Franklin County on a blustery April, early Southern Illinois day. And he and I go out and play. We're both kicking along. It's pretty cold. About the last 4 or 5 holes, he yanks that jacket off. He's going to show me who he is. Well, I already knew. It was fine. He had a good golf swing. He was a good kid, good athlete. And he parties a couple of them, bars would come in. And I said, JR, it's tuition books. And I hope you want to come to Rend College. And he did, and he signed. And then we get there in the fall, we're going to play. And he gets up to one of the tournaments, and we pull up at, we're in 15-passenger van, and we pull up to Lincoln, Illinois, to Lincoln Elks Golf Course, big tournament. And we pull up there, and everybody looks at, there's a practice screen over, everybody goes, oh no, oh my. They had blown holes in the green as big as silver dollars. And this is this part, if you're not a golfer, they blow the greens up twice a year to make them better, believe it or not. And the kids are all hanging their head, and oh my God, he said, one, JR goes, yes, I got him. And when the best player in the region was named Juco, who's the transfer from Sweden, playing Lincoln Trade. JR said, I'll beat him this time. And did. And it turned out to be a pretty good thing. And that team went on to do pretty good in the region. And then the next year, along the way in there, about Christmas time, he calls me up and he said, I just ran into Matt Armstrong. He's in our Hall of Fame, by the way. And he's not happy in Florida. I said, for God's sakes, tell him we would love to still have him. So we end up getting him. Matt comes here to school, first day of practice, he says, where's JR? I said, he's taking a year off. I thought Armstrong was going to get the Conkle League right then because that was one of the reasons he came here. Well, it turned out pretty good. That team finished second in the nation. And then he's coming back and JR comes up to Frankfurt again. He says, I'd like to come back. I said, well, okay. I just happen to have a scholarship for you. He'd love to have me back. I said, but I'm going to tell you, JR's team's good. Replaced Matt Armstrong with Jace Bug. And the rest of the team picked up some pretty good freshmen. Well, he gets in, we get rolling pretty good. And I had this rule. If you're a sophomore and you don't make the top 5, I'm not taking you as an individual to a tournament. I got these couple of freshmen that need his playing time. We have a big Chicago swing. He's not playing good. He doesn't make it. But we go to Chicago and he shows back up in my office, I'm pretty sure Tuesday morning because it was a long swing. And he sits down, being gracious as he is. How'd you guys do? I said, well, we won both tournaments. Yeah, who shot what? Then he pointed a finger at me. I said, really? He's sitting across from me. He says, you'll never leave me home again. And guess what? I never left him home again. Never. So as we went on to the national championship that year, you get paired for the first 2 days, and then they repair, and then they repair for the 4th day. So who's in number 1 position for Rend Lake College against Tyler, the best in the country? JR Conkle. He walks along the way and I asked him, I said, how you doing? Well, I'm too old. It's not too bad. He said, yeah, see that kid over there putting? Yeah, so if he makes it, he shoots 30 on the front 9, which would have been 600. Now, he's mad. He just does not like to lose. The kid misses a putt, birdies 10. Well, as this tournament goes, I think there were two guys who made All-American that year, JR being one of them. The team finished 3rd, a couple of strokes out of 2nd. We were just kind of pretty disappointed that we couldn't play for first. And these kids, just including me, he hated to lose, and what a good player. It was a great deal of fun to have him. After Rend Lake, he had gone on to Murray State, where he finished 2nd in the Ohio Valley, off a very good team there. He graduated from Murray, kept going to school, and he is now principal at the junior high down in Massac County, and has a wife and a couple of kids. One of his daughters is playing in college now, golf, which I think he's very, very proud of. And we got to be friends for years, Brian and JR and Quinn and Zinzalette and some ex-players. We played in pro-ams in the summertime together. That's just a pretty good little team. We had a lot of fun. So I think this is quite an honor. If any of you in here are being inducted, there's a lot of athletes going through Rend Lake College. And I don't know what percentage, I know Tim may have done the math here in time to make this Hall of Fame. But that's a pretty nice deal. So I would like to present at this time Mr. J.R. Conkle.
Coach did say I started on the 93 team, so I want to go ahead and get my glasses out for those of you that are of that age. You know, Coach, that story you told about, I didn't know that you remember that story about the tournament I was left home. You probably don't know that. But while I was at Rend Lake that weekend, I came down with the hives. I mean, you talking about being bothered. I came down with the hives and actually went and visited my oldest sister that was a nurse at the hospital to get some shots. I was so affected by that I came down with the hives that weekend. Coach, I want to thank you for introducing me in the kind and generous words. I'm going to speak more about Coach here in just a minute. But I want to certainly thank he and Wendy for taking the time to travel from Florida up here for this special occasion for me. It truly means a great deal. I talked to Coach Wills about it, and kind of back and forth, and I said, you know, Coach, I really want Dave to introduce me, but I hate to ask him to drive all the way up here from Florida. I said, well, you don't know if you don't ask him. And I finally, and I told Coach Wills, I said, if for some reason I had somebody else introduce me and Dave was there, it would break my heart because it means so much to me. I want to say thank you to all my family and friends. I've got my golf buddies here that I play with all the time, my family. Thank you all for coming. Got my mom here with me. She was always a person in the background constantly supporting me and praying for me. Just a kind of a little funny story here. For some reason, I always pull April Fool's pranks on her. She's a little gullible. And we were always in central Alabama during our April Fools, and I remember a couple not so nice pranks pulling on her, and one time she told me, that's it, you're moving home. I figured at that point it was time to tell her April Fools. I want to say a special thank you to my wife. Somehow while at Murray State, I found a prize that I certainly didn't deserve, but I was able to land one. And a guy once told me, I asked him what the key to having a good marriage was. He said, well, marry up. Marry somebody better than you. And I've had a good marriage. And I have a great wife. I'm sorry to hear about Coach Haskins being ill and not being able to be here. Down at our end of the state, Coach Haskins has actually meant a lot to me as an administrator. I've been in administration for 18 years now. And as a young administrator, Coach Haskins helped walk me through some things, especially whenever I was an AD. And he's always been a little bit of a mentor to me. And so I was hoping to see him, so I hate to hear that he's ill. I want to say congratulations to the 96-97 basketball team, Coach Russell, Coach Thrash, also to Stacy. Stacy, I was 8 years old in 1984. And all the basketball players on the high school team, you know, as you kind of mentioned before, you mentioned, they're your heroes at that age, the basketball team. And we had a team where I went to school at Hardin County. Had a good basketball team that year, probably the best team they had. The problem was they ran into the Foxes during the sectionals. It's not that I remember that or anything, but that has kind of carried over with me. And so when I was reading about you a little bit, I was like, oh, he was on that team. But I want to say congratulations to all of you, and congratulations to everyone that's sharing this evening with us. My father passed away several years ago, and he would have been extremely proud and excited about this recognition. He was the one that got me started in golf. One thing that he did with me, and I know now as a parent it's hard, he never left me at home. When he went golfing, he allowed me to tag along with him, with his buddies. And I know that's tough sometimes. And he always let me be a part of things. And so I know that he and a lot of older gentlemen that I grew up playing with at that little 9-hole course, at Cave Rock. I want to believe that somewhere in my mind that they're looking down, smiling tonight. When Coach Wills called me a while back, got the call, I thought he was probably calling me, okay, they're looking for an athlete down in our area. You know, that's happened before. Wanted to find out maybe about the character of the kid or somebody that's being recruited. We caught up on our families, told a couple stories. You know how things go when you haven't seen each other in a while. You know, one story leads into another story. But nowhere in my mind did I expect him to tell me that I was up for induction for the Hall of Fame. And so when he told me this, I was certainly surprised and taken back by the honor. I have a special affection for Rend Lake College. It means a lot to me. It may sound cliche, but and I think I told Coach Wills this. You know, I feel deeply in my heart that Rend Lake College has given me a lot more than I could ever give back to Rend Lake. All the people here, you know, it's great that, you know, the first people I walk into tonight I see is Coach Wills and Julie. What familiar faces, you know. But anytime I run into anybody from the college in the past, they've always taken the time to have a conversation, ask how your family's doing. So it's just always been a special place. In fact, I love Rend Lake so much, I actually stayed up here in the summers whenever I went to school here. And after my junior year at Murray State, I came back to Rend Lake to work at the golf course. I would have probably come back for a fourth summer, except I met somebody at Murray that was staying in Murray, and I thought it was probably a better idea for me to stay in Murray that summer. It seemed to work out for me, so. I do have two special people in my life that couldn't be here this evening. My oldest daughter, Lily, she is playing golf at Freed-Hardeman University. She is a sophomore. She has actually taken the semester off from golfing, and they have a study abroad program. So she is studying abroad. This semester she'll be on May 10th. She's actually in Lagos, Portugal at the moment. And she spoke to me earlier today, so I miss having her here. And then my youngest daughter is a junior in high school, and she is having her first prom. And I grew up with all sisters, older sisters, much older sisters, I might say, since they're here. And now I have all women, and my joke for everybody is, well, even my dogs have been females. Which they have. So I know how important it is for girls. And I told my daughter, Libby, please go to your prom. And she was all right with that as well. Both of my daughters have been involved in athletics, and something that is a very neat occurrence to me is there's a little sharing that we have with my playing days at Rend Lake and theirs, or their athletics. So I want to kind of explain that just a little bit. I've been a very fortunate person, very, very lucky to be on a lot of great teams. Been fortunate to be a coach. Just telling Mr. Kelley, for some reason I just always lucked into having good players, whether it was basketball or baseball or golf. Wherever I was coaching, wherever I went, I just seemed to go and there were good players there. And so I've been very fortunate, but for whatever reason, if anybody ever asks me, what is your favorite moment in sports? I have one, and it may surprise people. It's not a win. It's not an individual win. But my sophomore year in the region tournament, this was quite a ways after Dave left me home for a tournament. I haven't forgot about that, Coach. Which was deservedly so. So my favorite moment, we were in the Region 24 tournament, and it happened to be at Franklin County Country Club, which was nice. We played there a lot. That other school a little bit south of here played there a lot as well. But we had a bad first day, and we were actually down 3 or 4 strokes to them. We didn't like that. We had been spanking them all fall, and here they are in the region tournament. You know, the one team gets a bid to go to the national championships, and they're beating us. So, Coach, I was in the final group, happened to be playing with a guy from that other school, Logan, I think they call it. And they were somebody I played with in high school, so it was definitely somebody I wanted to beat. But our thought was, along the way, was that if you beat the guy you're playing with, we win the region tournament. If you beat the guy you're playing with, we win. And that was kind of the motto that we had that day. So we're tugging along, grinding it out. Greens at Frankfurt were going fast as could be that day. It was windy and a tough day. It was really a grind. And, excuse me, Coach was quiet. He was not telling me much of anything. He was not telling me much. Every time I saw him, keep grinding, keep working. You got to beat him. You got to beat him. We're on the 18th hole in the fairway, 156 yards out. I just hit an 8-iron. To about 15, 18 feet left of the pin. And Coach walks up to me and he said, "Hey, I just want to let you know we've won. We're winning." And so that 156-yard walk from there to the green was the best moment that I've ever had in sports. All the families, all the teams were gathered around. All my teammates were up at the green cheering loudly because they already knew we were winning. That was the best moment that I had to date in sports. I've coached a state championship golf team. I've coached region championship winners. That was the best moment that I have felt. And chills up and down my back. It was just a very proud moment. Fast forward 24 years, and my oldest daughter's a junior in high school, and her region tournament is at Franklin County Country Club. And she drains a 25-footer on the 18th hole to win the region and shoot her personal best of 1 under 70 that day. Let's go to my youngest daughter. Within the last month, I was asking my youngest daughter, "So what's your grade?" She plays volleyball. She has played basketball in the past as well. Asked her what her greatest moment was, and she says, "Well, Dad, I think it was in 7th grade when we were at the state tournament." Well, they have their little state tournaments at Rend Lake. And so, I guess this is my comeback from McLeansboro, Stacy. The McLeansboro Lady Foxes, their 7th and 8th grade team were undefeated. And they were playing. She had made 5 out of 6 free throws in the last minute and a half and had a big steal in the last minute to seal the deal for the game. And win the state is mainly a mostly 7th grade team. Then they came back again as 8th graders and won their state basketball tournament again. So I think it's just been really cool that both of my girls have some of their best sports memories that are related to my college days and also to Rend Lake College. There's just I don't know, it's just kind of neat. So last month or so, since I've talked to Coach Wills, I've been thinking a lot about Rend Lake College, of course. And one of the things I've thought about is, well, why is it that I have a strong affection or have a strong love for Rend Lake College? And the more I think about it, it's very simple. It's the people. It's the people of Rend Lake College. Coach's office was over in the vocational building, and we spent a lot of time there. Between classes, we'd go there, and he would take every chance in the hallway to give us a little drill to do. I remember one winter just taking the club back the same way over and over and over in the hallway of the vocational building. But the guys over there, and I'm probably going to leave some people out, but DJ and Frank and Sammy and Coach Ellingsworth and all the people over there, they just took us in and allowed us to be there. Come across the street, you've got Julie and Coach Wills, Coach Wall, Coach Russell was there for a little bit. So many others, Cindy Korn, Wayne Arnold, so many others that played a role asking you how you're doing, talking to you, or even being, going to the cafeteria and one of them say, "Hey, you want to eat with us," or something. Just small gestures that meant a lot. Going over to the admin building, We had great support from President Kern, Bob Carlock, Carol Turner. I remember Bob and Carol walking every step of the way with us at the national tournaments in Carolina. The time I spent up here in the summers, I became great friends with Craig Zinzaletta, Quinn McClure. Brian was always up here, great friends with Brian. Throw all of us together, throw Coach in there. We had a pretty good pro-am team. We actually run the board for a lot of pro-ams around here. But all those guys kind of took me under their wings and helped me out. And it's the people of Rend Lake that have made it such a special place to me. And I have to spend just a few moments talking about the person that made it most special, which is Coach. I didn't have very many golf scholarships coming out of high school. In fact, I had two, one to John A. Logan and one to Rend Lake. Coach told a little bit about the story. I remember whenever I came up here to visit, he showed me around the campus. Then we went to Franklin County to play some golf. And he tells a story about me taking my jacket off and really going to play. Well, let me tell you, it was cold. Snow flurries were coming down on the last two holes. It was so cold. I was doing my best to make this coach think that I was a mentally tough kid. It was not that I enjoyed it, and I'm not even sure, Coach, if I wanted to beat you that bad. I don't know, but I sure wanted you to think I was a tough kid that day. But that mentality played into who we were. That's who he recruited. He recruited kids that were mentally tough, and that held over to our teams and why we did so well. I was not the typical country club kid, and I think Coach kind of liked that about me. You know, I played other sports. Golf was probably number 3 on my list for a long time growing up. But what Coach did is he made our golf team feel like the basketball teams and the baseball teams that I'd been a part of. We competed like crazy in practice, but when it came tournament time, we were trying to win it for each other. We wanted everybody to play well, and if one person played better than the other one, it didn't matter. That didn't matter. We wanted to win. And so Coach, I really think that he recruited guys that had the same mentality that he had. Now, he mentioned this earlier, but another thing about Coach that means a lot to me is Coach has always taken chances on me. He took a chance on me, a kid from a little school at Hardin County, a group on a little 9-hole golf course. I didn't have a big golf resume or anything like that. He took a chance on me. Then I took a year away from Rend Lake. We went up, and I believe it was Brian and Coach that we were playing together in Franklin County, whatever. He said that, I told him I was thinking about playing some golf again, and he offered me a scholarship, said he had one left. He took a chance on me again. Well, when I came back, I was not, I guess you might say, in golf shape. And I struggled at the beginning. The Coach did not give up on me. He believed in me. And often had more belief in me than I had in myself. And that belief has carried me on when I went to Murray State. Beyond, I'll tell a little thing here on Coach. He was respected enough that I was given a golf scholarship at Murray State, sight unseen. All it was a call from Coach, and the scholarship was offered. Not only did Coach coach us on the course, but he was a mentor to me off the course as well. So often, we played a lot of golf together in the summers when I was staying up here. And it wasn't always just about golf. He was always on me. He and Mr. Jeff Ritchie, a guy that I've known since I was little bitty, Coach Wills, I used to stand on his shoulders to dunk when I was about 4 or 5 years old. But those guys guided me. You need to get into school administration. You need to get into school administration. They pushed me towards furthering my education. Coach would also have all kinds of other conversations with us, not just about golf. I mentioned to a friend today, I said, he would talk financial stuff with us, teach us some things about that. He would even talk some politics, that went beyond, and Brian will understand this one, hitting the ball left to Ted Kennedy and right to Ronald Reagan. I got to hear that too often off the tee box. But in all seriousness, I can't express my appreciation for what Coach has been to me. And lastly, I want to thank my teammates. We've got Brian out here. Brian's been a great friend through the years, great teammate. I was blessed to be on teams with great golfers and great competitors. When I look at those teams, the 93-94 team, Scott Johnson, Brian Drew, Jerry Hill, Rob Beeson, and then on to the 95-96 team, Chase Bug, Jeremy May, Brandon Auld, John Rask, Jeff Eichhoff, Brandon Burney. Those are just scattered with four-year scholarships. Brian went to SLU, Scott, University of Jacksonville, Jay's turned pro, Jeremy, Western Illinois, Oldie went to UMSL, Rasky went to Southern, Brandon followed me to Murray for a little bit. I can't tell you how good those teams were. I was at a tournament my senior year at Murray State. I don't remember where we were at, but I was on the putting green, and I look over, Coach remembers this name, I said, it was Tommy Moore. I said, Tommy, what are you doing here? Tommy was about 10th on our team. He said, hey, I'm playing second for Eastern Illinois University. That's how good that team was. How many, from about a 3 or 4 year stretch there, guys just went playing everywhere, and Coach had a big hand in that. But those teammates, it was competition. Practice was hard. I mean, getting a spot on the team was tough. I'll finish up here. We used to play for a lot of money. Coach didn't always know that, but I think he kind of liked it in a way as well. And he had to shut us down. I remember one time in fall, he shut us down for the rest of the fall because we were getting a little too competitive with it. But this kind of goes along with Coach recruiting athletes, we kind of held out on us on one. We just finished our season, and we were looking for something to do. We lived over, there were 6 of us living across, well, this is a good recruiting technique too. We lived across from a tanning salon and a nail place. That was a good recruiting, Coach. But a few blocks away, there was a tennis court there. So we decided, all right, we're going to start playing some tennis. So May and Aldi and myself, we decided we'd go play best out of 3 or whatever. And of course, like anything else, we put a little money on it, whatever we had. So then a couple other guys joined us, and Eichhoff came one day. We thought, all right, he looks like the least athletic of all of us. We're going to take him. Coach failed to tell us that he was all-state high school in tennis. He cleaned us up. In fact, I think that was the last time we played singles. We decided to play doubles after that from then on. But the teammates that we had, they pushed each other. They were good friends, but pushed each other to be better, and people that I think a lot of. And Brian, I appreciate you being here tonight. It means the world to me. I mentioned earlier that I've been lucky and fortunate throughout my life being on good teams, having great teammates, great coaches, having great players and great friends. I've been blessed with a wonderful family growing up, supportive family, blessed with a great family now. I've got the best wife and daughters I could ever ask for. It's easy to say that God has blessed me very richly. Rend Lake College has been yet another blessing to my life in my career. I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee for this honor. It's a great feeling to know that I'll be remembered and always have a place at Rend Lake College. So thank you very much.
Great. Two great individuals. Let's get these gals inducted now. Ronnie Russell, I remember you when you were a young coach. I'm getting older. You're still coaching. You're doing a great job. Missouri Southern State, correct?
Correct.
Went down there to join a Southern Illinois coach as an assistant after he coached at Rend Lake. We lost him to the four-year school, and then he ended up taking over the Missouri Southern women's program after how many years with the men? About 8 or so? 11. And he's had great success down there. Let's hear about your team when you were at Rend Lake. Ronnie Russell.
Jack, I'm with you as far as with the glasses and all that stuff. We're getting older. Before I get started, ladies, Coach Thrash, come on up here right up front. This is you. This is not me. This is about you. It's about our team. And you guys look a whole lot better than I do, so you guys can stare and look at these young ladies here. They are young. I say that in the fact that I think I was 27. What was you, Jason, at the time?
Yeah, 25.
25. They're 18, 19-year-olds, so there wasn't a whole lot of difference between us. But before I get started, there's some thank yous I got to do. Of course, Coach Wills, it wouldn't have been for him back in 1992 taking a chance on me, listening to Coach Korn say he could do the job, and could be an aspect of Coach Wills asked me, hey, can you afford $10,000 a year to live off of? And thank God for Sue Rich Campbell that got a roommate and I was able to do that. Then I was lucky enough when Coach Wall retired, and he of course was a women's basketball coach. They asked me to be the women's coach, and I wasn't quite sure whether I wanted to do that or not. But they said, I pay you $36,000 a year. I said, I'll take the job. So, but Tim, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity as far as being in college athletics. Bob Kelley as well, do everything that you've done. Rend Lake Hall of Fame Committee, again, thank you for inducting this tremendous team, I think, as far as tremendous people. They're better people than they were a team. And then we've talked about who runs the show around here. Julie, thank you for everything you've done. You know, I know Tim's got the AD in front of it, but we all know who runs everything around here for the most part, right, Tim? So, but again, thank you guys so much for that aspect. I also wouldn't be remiss if I didn't thank, as coaches and their wives have to put up a lot of things. I'd like to thank Jason's wife, Pam, for everything she's had to put up with when we was working together. And of course, I'd love to thank my wife, Pam, as well, and Christopher for everything they've had to deal with for over 30 years now as far as in the coaching business. Thank you very much. Give them two big rounds of applause. Now on these, our team from 96, 97, Bob Kelley, when I was talking to him, there was a couple things I didn't realize. When we beat John A. Logan in overtime, that was the first time in Rend Lake's history that we beat John A. Logan. And of course, yes. Of course, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that full name out, but when you beat them, it feels good. We degrade them there a little bit. But it was the first time in Rend Lake's history, and I'm not sure what we've done with them since then. I'm sure we've beaten a few times since then, but that was one of the games in overtime. One of the games that I do remember distinctly, beating John A. in overtime. And the other thing that I remember about that year is we were seeded 4th in the conference tournament because they did a seeding by coaches. We tied for the conference championship and was seeded 4th that year, which didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So, but there's two things I definitely remember that. But some highlights from that team. We had the best home record. We were 11-0 that year. We were 22-9 overall. We had, as far as record looks from what Bob gave me from that 96-97 team, held opponents to under 60 points, which at the time was the best. We had the most assists in one season with 639. And the amazing thing to me, we had two kids that had over 200 assists each. Andy Meyer and Terry Heaton both had over 200 assists in a single season. which is tremendous. Some of the other things that help us win games, we out-rebound our opponents, we turn people over. We had 4 kids in double figures that year as far as scoring, so with all those assists, we shared the ball tremendously. Defensively, which we were pretty good at the time, I thought, we held people to 37% defensive field goal percentage, 28% from the three-point line, which all, to me, led to a lot of success. And there's a couple stats as far as coaches that coach basketball back in 96, 97, that was around today. You'd think, how in the hell did you win any games? We shot a total of 136 threes for the year. Think about that. I think we shot that in 7 games this past year in my Missouri Southern team. We shot 136, and here's the crazy thing. Terry Hinkin was a fiend. She shot 99 of them out of the 136. Of course, we weren't a great three-point shooting team anyway, but I wish Anya was here, Magma was here, because she was our best three-point shooter. She shot 56%, but she only took 9. I should ask, why did we not let her shoot more? But the other thing, a couple things that really stuck out to me as well, of course with the assists and everything else, free throw percentage. Everybody says you got to make free throws to win ball games. We shot 58% from the free throw line as a team. And again, Andy was our best free throw shooter. Yeah, you know, and of course, Andy here, she went to the free throw line, it seemed like every other possession. Just think how much you would have averaged if you had shot a good percentage. Now, Jenny, don't laugh too much. Here's the bad thing. Jenny's field goal percentage is better than the free throw percentage. But no, it was a lot of fun that year. It was just the team chemistry, how they got along, how they played, and just like the other 2 gentlemen talked about, the competition. They competed. They hated to lose. And did we have 6 a.m. practices?
Yes.
But if I remember right, you guys, someone's early, yeah, I think, but you guys wanted that. That wasn't my option. I think you guys wanted that. Yeah, but no, they did. 6 a.m. practices, and part of it was because, again, you look at most of these people, they're all, we talked about the in-district, the area kids. They're all within an hour, basically, from Rend Lake. So we had a lot of local talent that did a lot of positive things for us, and as a coach, made us very proud. And again, you know, Jason and I were very young, didn't really know what the heck we were doing. At least I didn't know what he was doing. He at least said his dad was a coach for a number of years, so he learned quite a bit from his dad. But came to recruiting and doing all that stuff, we were as green as could be. We were just lucky enough to land enough kids, enough talented kids that knew how to win, knew how to compete, and wanted to play together and play for each other. And I think anytime you get that out of a team, you're going to have a lot of success. But no, they were a fun group. I don't have stories to talk about for sure. I've gotten older and forgotten a lot of things, but the one thing I do know, we had a lot of fun that year. To win that amount of games and to win the tie for the conference championship in this region, this league at that time, when you had 4 or 5 teams ranked in the top 25 every year, and Johnny Logan had a tendency to make it to the national tournament and be successful. It was a tremendous accomplishment, and this is a tremendous honor that we have been inducted to the Hall of Fame and the first women's team to do that. And it's to these young ladies that are standing in front of us what they accomplished as a group. Just extremely proud of them. Any of you ladies would like to get up here and talk? I just hope Terry would make it here because I know she would have. She would have talked. She was my point guard. She would have been very vocal. But also I'd like to congratulate JR and Stacy. Again, we're honored to be going in with you guys into the Rend Lake Hall of Fame. Again, it's a tremendous honor. And again, I want to thank everybody that came out today, and again, the committee for selecting the 96-97 women's basketball team. Thank you.
want to get one thing straight before we all leave here tonight. Now, you say because those were local girls for the most part, they wanted to practice at 6 a.m., but I didn't see a single person say that it was their thought that they wanted to practice at 6. Did we get that clear that that was a coach's decision? Because you live close by, so you could get here real easily before 6 o'clock. Come on, Ronnie.
I had to work in the fitness center. I'd rather get my hours in the fitness center, or Wayne would get mad at me.
Okay, well, I believe that. Folks, we appreciate very much you being here tonight. We are very proud of the inductees that are going into the hall tonight. Normally, it would be a matter of handing out those plaques, and they will be coming, we promise that. But we appreciate your being here tonight, your sharing with each other. We had some great stories, heard some good things about some good people. And that is what Rend Lake College is all about. Thanks for coming.